Guys, don't forget to buy David White's book. It's £20 for a personalised signed copy and free delivery. All the details are down below. Good morning, Blues. It's Andy from Man City Fan TV on Bank Holiday Monday. No excuses. Guys at Man City Fan TV will bring you content daily as we promise. So no shirking from us today. This video is about Leroy Sane. And I wanted to do it on the back of Saturday's result and obviously the season so far. And the question is there a problem with Leroy Sane? Now, I don't want to get into this is a video that is going to slag off Leroy Sane. Not at all. I said in my post-match video on Saturday, Leroy's a wonderful player and had an absolutely amazing season last season. But something is clearly wrong and I'm not sure what it is. So I did a little bit of research and a little digging around and things like that. And I don't really want to use speculation and rumour because there's quite a lot of it out there. Now, I will potentially mention them. I do not believe them. And I certainly don't endorse these rumours, but these things are being said. So, you know, we at Man City Fan TV are just trying to be as objective as we can and trying to find out, is there a problem? There might not be a problem. It might just simply be Pep's decided not to start him this season. But anyway, don't forget, as we go through, give us your thoughts. Like I said, this is not to have a dig at Leroy personally, but we're just asking the question: what's going on? What is wrong? So, well, let's go back to Saturday because before Saturday's game, there may have been one or two comments made about Leroy Sane, but I think what's brought it to light, and we heard Bolt from the Blues podcast. Him and Walter were talking about it as well, and I mentioned it after the game against Wolves. I mean, his body language didn't look right, and to be fair, it's not the first time. However, that game on Saturday was something different. A couple of times, shrugged his shoulders, threw his arms up in the air, sort of looked a little bit frustrated. Gave the ball away 5 or 6 times under no challenges, but then, as he did last season, just showed that moment of absolute magic where he drifted inside and beat 3-4 players. So yeah. Anyway, let's start with last season. As we know, Leroy won Young Player of the Year, and deservedly so. He was absolutely brilliant. But again, when you actually look at it from afar objectively, in fits and starts. I mean, he didn't do it consistently every single game. So what I did was I looked at the fixtures, and I wasn't going through every single fixture last season, but I wanted to. My first point was: is this season starting the way that it did last season, or is this something different that's happening this season? So I've made some notes, and I'll just go through these notes in particular. So I can't remember every single stat off the top of my head, so I do apologise for that. So if we go back to last season, and I'm just going to go through the games and whether Leroy started, and if he did, whether he scored, and whether he was on the bench or he didn't get picked at all. So we had, the first game was Brighton away. He was on the bench for that and came on the 68th minute. Then we had Everton at home, and he started that game. Then we had Bournemouth away. He was on the bench for that and came on in the 82nd minute. Then we had Liverpool, the 5-0, where he started on the bench. He came on after 57 minutes and scored 2 goals. Then we had Watford away. He was on the bench again and came on the 78th minute. Then we had Palace at home, where he started and got 1 goal and 2 assists. Then we had that Chelsea 1-0 with that wonderful Kevin De Bruyne goal. He started in that game. He then started at home to Stoke, where he scored a goal. He then started at home to Burnley, where he scored a goal as well. He then started again away at West Brom, where he scored a goal. He then started at home to Arsenal. He then started away to Leicester. He then started away to Huddersfield. The home game against Southampton, he wasn't involved at all. I think, if I remember rightly, he had a slight niggle, so it wasn't that he was dropped completely. And then West Ham at home, he started. So taking the first 15 games there, and when you look at it, there is a little bit of a pattern in respect of, if we take the first 5 games, he only started one of them, and that was the Everton game. The rest of the time, he came off the bench in the 68th, the 82nd, the 57th, and the 78th minute. So far this season, he was a sub against Arsenal, came on in the 87th minute. He was a sub against Huddersfield and came on in the 76th minute. And then we know he came on against Wolves quite late on in the game. So the start, actually, we're only 3 games in. He only started 1 game out of the first 5 last season. So my next question with that is he a player that needs time to get up to speed? And maybe he's one of those that might, once he starts being introduced from the bench, he might then start picking up and providing some consistency, because we saw, really, apart from the 1 game against Southampton where I think he had an injury and wasn't in the squad at all, the first 5 he only started once. He was on the bench for the first 5, for the 4 of the 5, but then started the next 10 games. So that could be a theory. That could be one reason why he's not started so far. So is it that? Who knows? The next point, which has been raised, a question that was raised, and I'll ask you guys, the followers who are watching this, to comment below. Is it his ego? Now, it's quite hard to prove unless you know the player, unless you're inside the actual dressing room and you're around Leroy Sane every day. It's quite hard to, have evidence to say, oh yeah, he's got a big ego. But there has been some things that have been written about his ego, and Ray actually mentioned a good point earlier this morning. He said that in the documentary at one point when I think Delph had come off and got subbed or something, then Pep turned around to Leroy and said something along the lines of change your face. So I don't know, is there a little bit of something there within him as a personality? And sometimes that's not a bad thing. Carlos Tevez, fantastic when he played for City, but did have an attitude. Yaya Toure, in particular, certainly strong character. Maybe Leroy's a strong character. Maybe he's a winner. But I think, considering the company that he's keeping, with the likes of Vincent Kompany, David Silva, Sergio Aguero, Fernandinho, to name a few, Kyle Walker, much older players, experienced players, you'd be surprised if they allowed this ego to manifest itself, certainly in front of others. Now, has Pep had a quiet word? Has he had an angry word? Has there been no confrontation whatsoever? We don't know. But certainly on occasions, his body language hasn't been great. So, question one, is he a slow starter? As the stats gave you earlier. 2, is it an ego thing? Possibly, maybe not. Now the third thing was, is he just still extremely disappointed over being dropped for the Germany squad in the World Cup? Now if you think about it, and remember, Leroy's still a young kid. He's not in his mid-20s, still in his very, very early 20s. He wins Young Player of the Year in the Premier League, absolutely smashed it up last season. He was incredible for us. And then you would really expect for him to definitely make Joachim Löw's Germany squad. And then he gets dropped. Now, there were rumours during the summer when this came to light. And again, these are just rumours, paper talk, and it'd be neglect of me not to mention it, was that Löw actually thought he had a bit of an attitude and maybe unbalanced the squad, not from a playing point of view, but integrating himself within the players, and could be a bit of a troublemaker. Whether that's true or not, I've never heard it from the manager's mouth himself. So, you know, Leroy clearly was extremely disappointed, but I'd be very surprised if Pep Guardiola hadn't spoken to him that day or days after the announcement of the Germany squad. So, is he really disappointed? Is he just one of those people that takes disappointment, you know, in a difficult way? Some people are like that. Others potentially might just shrug it off and go, right, well, you know what? I'm gonna prove to him, and I'm gonna, you know, work harder. I'm gonna get better. And he's got the perfect manager in Pep Guardiola to, you know, to get wherever he wants to be. I think Pep's even said he can be whatever he wants to be. But sometimes, you know, youth take disappointment quite hard. So is this carried on throughout the summer? I don't believe it's fatigue, because he's had probably one of the longest holidays of any of the players at City. But you might say, has that caused a problem as well? Could he have come back earlier? Could he have got himself into a rhythm? Does he need that rhythm though? You know, that being benched for the first 5 games, is that not helping him? We don't know. It's extremely difficult. The next one, is it a combination of the two? Is there a little bit of ego there, that youthful ego that needs sort of harnessing in a positive way rather than in a negative way, and the combination of the disappointment of being dropped for the Germany squad in the summer? Quite possibly. Now, there's been other rumours and talk, you know, and again, this is just speculation. And there's absolutely no proof that any of these things are true. There was rumours that he was potentially smoking cigarettes while he was away on holiday. Who knows? I've never read anything or seen him doing that. So, you know, but he's not the first player to do anything like that anyway. There's also rumours that came about by some individuals around sort of City, or who know people within City, saying that he's actually been quite lazy in training, and Pep's you know, not happy about it. Is that his natural style, or is that something completely different to what he was doing last season? Was he putting it in 100% in training last season, hence why he was so good? Or is he naturally just one of those players? You only have to look and read what some of the players say about Sergio Aguero in training. They say he's one of the worst trainers. Come to match day, bang, game face on, and he's at it. So is he one of those? Well, unless you're on the inside, or you're Pep, or you're one of the players, you don't really know for certain. So anyway, guys, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think he's one? He is notoriously a slow starter, and as we saw, only started once last season in the first 5 games, but then had a run of 10 games. Is he one that needs to start? Should Pep actually be starting him and trying to build his confidence, or, you know, do we have to trust him in what Pep's doing? This, you know, is there a reason this season he's not starting after such a wonderful season last season? Or is this something more sinister? Is there a problem that Pep needs to address with Leroy Sane? Because, you know, we all want him back. We want him playing there because he is such an incredible talent. And especially when we've got Kevin De Bruyne out at the moment, we might need that little bit of something magical. Certainly if the likes of Bernardo and David Silva are at the top of the game like they weren't against Wolves, then we need somebody else that can do something, that can change a game. And possibly, I don't know, maybe if he had another 20 minutes on Saturday, who knows what would have happened. But anyway, guys, give us your thoughts below. Like I said, this is not a dig at Leroy. It's just we're wanting to try and find out what exactly is going on. Is it nothing? You know, is there absolutely nothing going on? And we'll see Leroy in the next few games start to play more, develop more, and get into the game and just pick up where he left off last season. So anyway, guys, listen, have a fantastic Bank Holiday Monday. Don't forget to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and click notification. We're here every single day for you, putting out videos, sometimes 2. We're here for the fans, and that's why we set up the channel. So anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.